Jason, give everybody kind of an update where all you're at after last weekend there.
Last weekend we got all the harness bar in, mounted the intercooler, the radiator, sway bar got mounted, the intercooler pump got mounted off in there.
Okay.
Kind of moved forward and got the front bulkhead cut out, cleaned up, tacked up, checked it with a couple of the stock A-arms to make sure everything was good, and then full welded it out and got it back into the chassis. Did add some more bracing tubes, got the steering rack mounted. All this stuff is just kind of floating in here. I'm waiting on the real suspension parts to show up.
Yeah.
To make sure, just double checking them against these and everything to make sure all that's good.
You're using Donda's A-arms, right?
Yeah, we're gonna run the Metalwerx A-arms on the front and the Metalwerx trailing arms in the back with a toe delete. It's all high clearance stuff and super beefy, so.
That's what, you ran those on the front of your blue one. So yeah, I mean, like,
yeah, his trailing arms are the first trailing arms I've never bent, so I'm actually pretty impressed.
I'm impressed with them. Yeah, I mean, they totally, like, whenever we saw them, we were both skeptical on them, and they didn't. So I'm totally good with it. Right here in this plate on top, this is a mount for the RC9. We're going to do that little worn RC9, and then do a little cable where we can spool a bunch of it.
Yeah, Custom Splice is actually going to send us some 5/16 rope. I think it's 100 foot long.
Cool. And then the front diff, I know we worked in on the blue one to where it would just come, it just pops right out the front now. So you're going to remove the front, and then does it just pop out the front?
Yeah, it's got one like kind of bulkhead skid plate deal that goes out on here. That's going to be 3/8, 70/75 aluminum, and you'll unbolt that. You will have to pull the one A-arm loose to get the bolt out, and then the whole front diff literally just comes right out of the front.
Gotcha. I love how the rack in this thing's much beefier than what was in the years past. I really like this backer plate. That's all the factory stuff.
Yeah, it went from 4 bolts to 6 or 7, so it's a whole lot better tied in.
And I know hydraulic steering has been one of the big questions that a lot of people keep on asking about, and just like, I know time's against us right now trying to do hydraulic steering on this, but also we really want to build this chassis to where we can do a chassis delete for the next guy down the road. Like,
yeah, I don't think everybody really needs hydraulic steering, and not everybody really wants the added cost of doing it. And I honestly think that this rack's going to hold up for what we're doing, and we've got the hydro stuff pretty well designed out. It's just, it's a lot of machine work time. It's a prototyping idea versus, I know if we run this right out of the gate, I'm going to have steering going to KOH. With the timeline,
with the timeline,
it's a gamble that I'm just really not trying to handle with.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I know in that last buggy we did, the shock mount really got into this, so we've already talked about, let's go in and get the steering column out. Let's get the steering column mounted like right now before we drop the tube in that's going to hold the shock, and then tie in this last point to this top A-arm, because I know we are doing a lot of design work and build work right on the fly with this thing.
Yeah, with the other stuff being designed off the Turbo S suspension, and there's with this being the Turbo R, there is quite a bit of changes. So some of it I am trying to get the scan work done, and then me and you were trying to bounce like CAD work and get that back together. I'm going to try to get all the firewall and all the interior pieces in there this weekend, so I can get the box mounted up where the steering pass-through goes, and like brake pedals and gas pedals, and really try to get all that figured out. My race helmet showed up, so I can try to get mocked up in here, and I'm gonna get the wife to scan me on Friday or Saturday with the digital scanner with my helmet on, so I can check all the tube clearance on the top.
So another thing, we've got these mock-up Alpha seats. I'm a big fan of the Alpha, especially in a race car, because first time I'd ever ran the Alpha was we put them in the rocket ship, and a lot of people, Wes Keene drove that thing a lot. He's got a really bad back, and I don't think a lot of people know that, and he told us like that was, I think, the only seat just never really hurt him, and he's been in some nasty wrecks in it. And then
we spent the weekend out there in KOH, me and you riding around, taking turns driving and swapping, and I felt great after a week of straight beating and just having a good time.
I'm not going to say it's like just a comfortable seat to trail ride, but man, like, it never hurts you.
No,
like,
you don't feel beat up.
And I love this cut right here, that where your arms, where you can really work the steering wheel and you never get crowded up. So like having this cut out right here, a lot of fiberglass composite seats have that, but I never I never knew that was a thing dealing with regular suspension seats.
Yeah. I mean, I've been running the XCs in pretty much the PRP XC and every buggy I've done for probably the last 10 years. And I love them for a trail riding seat. But as soon as we said race car, and, we were like, we're going race car, like there was no other choice in my mind other than putting that Alpha in it. So
no, that Alpha is what fits us.
We got ratcheting seat belts coming that are Hans ready for it with a removable pad. So even when we get back to doing a little bit of trail riding, the pads actually can clip back in and not be uncomfortable on your neck.
Yeah. So yeah, like this seat, I was always worried about taking a really big G out, and then I climbed little Caesars at ALP in the rocket ship, and that ledge is just nasty, and you gotta just launch at it, and a lot. I hit the belly like 2 or 3 times and fell back off of it really, really, really hard indeed. When it would just belly out, it still never really shocked me like I thought it was. I was really impressed with that seat. So,
and that's something you get a lot in these little cars, being low to the ground with the lower belly height and bulkheading out and G'ing out on the belly is
that's what a lot of people probably don't understand about, coming from the buggy world, because so we've got a live axle in the front. So if you diff out, that diff is still hooked to the suspension.
Yep.
In these cars and the big IFS cars, if you hit the rock on the front bulkhead, it is straight chassis.
You feel
it hurts so bad.
Yeah, you feel it in your chest and everything else.
Yeah, it's rough.
It's like the bulkhead tube in this. I went ahead and slimmed it out like you said on the last one, and I didn't listen to you, and I caved it in. That's got 1.5 inch 70-75 slug inside of 120 wall. So
it's a solid slug. It'll never go nowhere.
It ain't gonna give up.
Yep. Explain the fuel cell idea, because today's the first day I've seen that it's actually come in. So what's up with the fuel cell?
For Ultra 4 and the past tech, it's going to have to be a bladdered cell inside of a metal can. So this is a Jazz fuel cell blank, so it doesn't have all the holes and everything else cut in it. And we'll build the canister around it and mount 2 in-tank pumps with the return and all that coming out of it. And then it'll have a filler that's going to come out through the fender line over here, selled out. But what I'm really trying to do, since I'm going to run this as a single seat car, is get some of the weight balanced back over on the passenger side.
Yeah.
So that it has a more, nimble feel to it, and it doesn't just feel driver heavy.
Mm-hmm.
And 6 pounds a gallon, I think, is what gas weighs, and it's a 16-gallon cell. So you're looking at 82 pounds of weight up there.
Yep, balancing it out. So I'm down with it. Let's go over some ideas over here on these shocks and stuff. We've got the shocks laying out on the table. So, man, the really cool thing about these machines now is they actually come with a really good shock package on them from the factory. I know from when a RZR started, it's a big shock. I mean, heck, in the buggy world, this is a big shock.
Yeah,
2.5.
2.5 and a 3.0, yeah.
So I talked to Glenn at Radflo, and he, they were building RZR shocks, and then they got out of building RZR shocks. Well, he's ready to fire the RZR shock program back up. And I know Paul Wolf's got the DRTs, that internal bypass shock that they've got.
Yeah, because that's a full internal bypass coilover.
Yeah.
Setup.
So Paul's running it, and then I know Nick Nelson's running them on Can-Ams, and he asked if we would be interested in putting the Radflo stuff on this car. But if he does it, we got to box these things up and ship them to him to where he can get measurements off of it, and then remake this fork and everything. Because I told him I would love to do it, because we've been running Radflo forever.
Oh yeah, everything.
And I've been just kind of itching to get my hands on a set of that internal bypass shock. So I think it'd be great on the car.
I'd love to do it.
Yeah, I'd say let's box these things up. We'll get them shipped out to him. That way he can pull the measurements and everything else. And then hopefully...
Yeah, I'll keep the other 2 around here so I can keep mocking up and not really hold my progress. And that'd be great.
I told him that I really wanted to do a shock where we didn't have to run any kind of a custom trailing arm or a custom A-arm or anything else. I wanted that end to fit that way. With our whole plan of going forward, we can build this thing right back with a factory A-arm and a Radflo shock or a factory shock and a aftermarket A-arm, or aftermarket. Like it's got that.
That's the great part about the razors, and like with this, what we're trying to do with this is trying to make sure that you have the ability to upgrade as much as you want or as little as you want. If you didn't destroy your machine and you're trying to do this, you can just move your parts over.
Yeah,
and then it's no different than having your regular razor. You can upgrade the A-arms as you want to. You can upgrade things as you want to go.
Yeah, now, and people do need to know, like, this fuel cell, that's not going to be part of a regular razor deal. Like,
no, that's not a deal.
And the buggies we built in the past, the Huberts, we did do a cell like this. I don't know if it was that same size, but it was
close.
It was really close to that same shape.
I think we did a 12 in his, but
I'm not sure. But then, but your green one and your blue one, they all had aluminum cells in them, and that's what I would do again.
Yo, for a trail car, I definitely would. Absolutely. I mean, I never had a single problem out of that setup. Running just a regular sunked out tank that ran to the back. This is a racing thing. And with this being a car that we're going to race, and I do want to do a ton of event riding this year. And
absolutely.
We trail ride, like, you know as well as I do. Like, if I got a weekend where I'm not just hemmed up, we're fucking the trailer up and we're going riding somewhere. So we're going to be able to put the seat back in and still have decent amount of gas.
Yeah. Another thing, like the radiator, did this on the blue one and the green one. You got the factory radiator, factory fan, and you mount it down low. I love it because it blows that air right onto the turbo. I've never seen the exhaust turn red on your machines. I've seen you run the crap out of them. But man, it just really fits in there, and that's because you extended that wheelbase, and then we moved the seats up that little bit of a hair bit, and it's actually got a relatively, just a flat firewall, which makes all that really easy to build. So builder-wise, it's easy, and then, man, I love where the radiator is, and everything else shortens up the hoses. You going to do the surge tank thing again that we did last time?
Absolutely. I'm going to throw that. I think I ended up about 1.75 gallons on the last one. I'm going to shoot for the same surge tank that I had drawn up for blue. It should be able to just pop right back in there.
Yeah. Awesome.
That buggy never ran over, I think the highest we ever got it was 202 degrees, and that was after I blew a hose clamp off of the motor at KOH last year.
Yeah.
And we ran it all the way back from outer limits on the box at half full of water.
Yeah.
And it still was 200 degrees.
Cool. Well, man, I can't wait to see parts roll in. I can't wait to see I know we're waiting on the trailer arm and the A-arms to really show up to really finalize all these points. We've got the whole frame that we've got all the scan and stuff of, but yeah, I mean, fire down.
Give me a long holiday weekend.
Yeah, there you go.
Eat a little bit of turkey tomorrow and work the rest.
Yeah.